welcome and good day, everyone. We, of course, glad you guys could join us again for another Talk It Over. Continuing in our series in the book of Ruth, which has been so good. But before we dive into that today, do a little catch up here. Of course, my name is Ian. I have today with me my wife, Leanne. So this should be a good discussion, I think. So how's your week been, Leanne? I know for me, I know most of what's happened in your week, but people watching, what's your week been like?
It was good. I went into the week with plans for childcare with certain people watching our son so that I could work. And then all of those changed very drastically throughout the week. And so I don't think any day went according to plan, but I'm learning to just be flexible and go with it and have fun with it anyways. So it was good.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that when we get those things all set up and everything ahead of time and people to watch them and such, and then all of a sudden, we get some sickness and that, and things change, is frustrating. But at the same time, in his instance, them being aware of they're sick, not feeling well, and letting us know that ahead of time, not that we show up and be like, okay, he's here, and then they're hacking up along. Yeah, that certainly makes it better, I guess. That's the better scenario than just showing up, but. Yeah, it is difficult for sure when you have everything lined up and it's all planned out and it's nice, and then all of a sudden it just like changes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, work's been still fairly steady, fairly busy. The weather's been a little bit nicer, not near as hot, which has been nicer. Got back to doing my Taekwondo class, which was good, not just sparring. So I actually went out and did the class, which was quite intense. We were racing, and the racing we were doing, we needed tall people, and my team had every short person. So it was slightly challenging, but we made it through. We got it done. We encouraged each other. Did you just call
yourself a short person?
No, I was the tall person.
Okay, just clarify.
No, I was the tall person, but no, it worked out. It worked out just fine. We had a lot of fun with it, so it was good, and it was good just to get back and doing that class and giving my arm a little bit of a break and not getting kicked in the elbow again, which seems to happen every time I spar. So gotta look into that and see if we can get that adjusted and fixed so I can get back to sparring, because it is a lot of fun. I don't know what it's for you guys, but let us know. How's your week been? Maybe you've had some fun things happen. Maybe you've had some stressful stuff. Whatever that might be, please let us know in the chat. We would love to hear from you and read those in the comments so we can get back to you and work on that relational connection with you guys. So continuing in the book of Ruth, today's title is The 4 Signs You Might Have a Keeper. So if that doesn't give you away what we're talking about relationships and those keepers. And sometimes you got to let the bad ones go. And that's all part of it too, as we look into what these mean. Our scripture today comes from Ruth 2, verses 10 and 11. At this, she bowed down with her face to the ground. And we're talking about Ruth. She asked him, "Why have you found such favor in your eyes that you noticed me, a foreigner?" Boaz replied, "I've been told all about what you have done for your mother-in-law since the death of her husband, how you left your father and mother and your homeland and came to live with people you did not know before." And I think that just reinforces the idea that Ruth really left everything behind. She gave up her previous life, her previous false god, left everything behind and moved with her mother-in-law and to a completely new country area for her, with knowing nobody but her mother-in-law. And the commitment she made to her mother-in-law, that she'll become one with her people, her God will be her God, and that just continuing knowing that that's what she was doing and the intentions behind what she was doing, to me really brought out the character of who Ruth was. Our first question here, what's the best piece of relationship advice you've received? Maybe you used it, maybe you didn't.
I received a lot of relational advice, and I don't know, it depends. Today I would say one thing, tomorrow I might say another thing. I think I'm going back and forth between communication and how you need to be communicating expectations and boundaries and the highs and lows of the day and just talking to each other. And then also how men and women speak differently. Like I can say I have nothing to wear, and that means I need to do some shopping. And
you have nothing new.
I have nothing new. I want to go shopping. you say you have nothing to wear because you have nothing clean. And so like there's two different ways to look at it. And yeah, just how men and women talk differently. And so understanding each other and how each other talks through that.
Yeah, different meanings behind the same expression.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, learning to understand the different ways we speak and what we mean behind what we're saying.
Yep.
I know for us, we sometimes have to clarify a little bit of what we're expressing because I know what I'm saying and I know what it says in my head, but
Yeah.
that doesn't mean you're understanding exactly how I'm expressing it or
Right.
what I'm meaning behind it. So yeah, I definitely agree. That's a big one for sure. Um, the one advice I had was, again, Craig talked about it today, and it's the people around you and giving you advice of if they don't like this person, even if your dog doesn't like this person, there's probably an issue. And
Yeah.
you know, eh, generally people around you should know you quite well, especially your family, and they should know you quite well, and they should know have a good at least understanding of what's good for you and what can be helpful. But sometimes you don't take that advice, even though
Yeah.
it's right in front of you, it's told to you. I made that mistake and I didn't listen, and I ended up in not the greatest direction near, in that point of my life when I probably should have listened a little bit more.
Mhm.
So I would recommend that if people around you are, giving you advice of this person doesn't seem to be a good fit for you, whether that's like a boyfriend, a girlfriend, something like that, or even just a friend, somebody
Mhm.
who's has influence on you, just take maybe a step back and listen to that advice, especially the really close people, because they do want the best for you. And if they're seeing something that maybe you're not seeing, it's probably a good idea to take a listen to that. And I probably should have.
Yeah.
Um, and later on, I realized that, yeah, I should have. And fortunately, my parents loved you, so that worked out
Mhm.
really well.
Yeah.
Um, they said she's a keeper, you should marry her. So well, this is where we ended up. So I took the advice at that point
Yeah.
after a bit of the train wreck to begin with, but we end
You
up where we
learn.
are, and we
Yeah.
learn from those points, and I hope Emmett takes the advice we give him when he's making relationships with friends, especially in school right now,
Yeah.
and knowing that we're looking out for the best for him. We want to keep him safe and the best for him.
Yeah.
Okay, so this message, again, excellent message, lots of great points in this message.
Mhm.
Was there one that really kind of stood out to you? Something that really was like impactful?
I think it was just how they were talking about character and seeking the right character.
Mm,
Um, and the point that Craig made, you don't just attract what you want, you tend to attract who you are. And so I think this may lend into the another question for a little further along in the conversation. But just like, who am I attracting? And do I want to be attracting those people?
mm.
Am I bringing the best self that I want to be bringing to my relationships and having those people attracted to me, or is there something that I need to change in my and I don't know, I don't want to change my character, but make it more like Christ and take steps to improve myself so that I am attracting the right people.
Yeah, because what we put out is what we generally get back,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, that's a really good point. Because yeah, it's all about what Christ is working on in us. How are we showing Him? Because if we're not showing Him, we're not going to be, attracting people that maybe are seeking Him.
Right.
Because that's not what we're putting out. We may be putting out a negative attitude, a negative direction, very pessimistic look, and you're going to attract fairly negative people that maybe aren't supportive, aren't helpful, aren't caring enough, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's really good point. I do quite like that. He touched on 4 points: seeking character, exploring connection, showing consideration, and receiving confirmation. I think for me that was just the big points of really just kind of hit me the most, is really striking each of those points. I think was impactful enough for me that it's like, we need to remember that one again when we're going into relationships. These are the things that we need to be looking for.
Yep.
And sometimes we kind of forget some of those about, not being considerate or not listening to the confirmation from people around us, as I
Mm-hmm.
kind of said before, people confirming things for you. Yeah, I think it just struck it home a little further as he dove into it. Just each of those points does make a big change or difference in the relationships around you,
Yeah.
and how that can really affect the influence you have and the people that influence you. So yeah, excellent part of the message. Certainly, yeah, lots of great parts. All right, so let's reread Ruth again here, our scripture for today. So at this, she bowed down with her face to the ground. She asked him, "Why have I found such favor in your eyes that you noticed me, a foreigner?" Boaz replied, "I've been told all about what you have done for your mother-in-law since the death of her husband, how you left your father and mother and your homeland and came to live with people you did not know before." So with that in mind, Boaz noticed Ruth's character and who she was. What qualities do you think someone would see in you? If you had a
Hmm.
Boaz looking, what would that look like? What do you think they would see?
I don't know. Like, Ian, do you want to answer this question for me? Um, it's I don't I hope that they see that I'm a trustworthy person. That I let my yes be yes, my no be no. Um, that my values are my family, God, my relationship with Him, my relationship with my church family, um, and my relationships too with my extended family. Um, I don't know that I want to be a lot of fun to be around, not just a drag to kind of tear people down, but I encourage people and lift them up.
Yeah, qualities. They are interesting because, yeah, sometimes we can have a skewed view of maybe what our qualities or what our character's made of.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I certainly would agree. I see a lot of those characteristics, those qualities in you. Um, and I would say for me, I want people to see that, again, they can trust me, but also know that I'm going to follow through with what I say.
Yep.
And I know for sure with Emmett, if it's something I said I'm going to do or I promised him, I follow through with that. And I want him to understand that the people that he needs to have around him are the ones that will do the same. It's not just me,
Mm-hmm.
but modeling that for him, that you don't want friends or relationships with people that say a lot of false promises or a lot of false things that never follow through on.
So it's an integrity thing.
I guess it would be, yeah, I guess it'd be a bit of an integrity
Yep.
thing of what that person, what they believe and what they stand by and what they stand with. And I would want people to see that in me.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to bring that and show that in a way that shows that, I guess,
Yeah.
in carrying through with what I've expressed that I will do. And I know if I can't do it, I won't say it. I won't say that I can do it or I don't promise to do it if I just can't,
Right.
because I don't want to break that part. I guess the integrity part of that, that it breaks the character of this is who I am, right? So yeah, I think that's a big one. Um, Honesty, I think, is a good
Mm-hmm.
one, and communication. That people would see that they can talk to me, communicate with me, with no judgment, I guess. I think would be part of that, and just be able to express themselves in a safe manner,
Yeah.
knowing that it's not. Again, I guess that's part of the trustworthy of not being, spreading that to everyone, or
Right.
confidential things that they want to talk about, but are want somebody trustworthy. I guess that's what I would like to put out as for people to see. Yeah, I don't know if you see those characteristics, but
Yeah, I do. Yeah. No, and that's leading into another question further down. That's one of the things that led me to you of like you are a trustworthy person. You do have the integrity that like when you say yes to something, then you follow through with it.
yeah, it's like a yes is a
And
yes, and no is a no. It's kind of what you were
yeah,
saying. It's that you want those to be very set parameters
right.
of, if I say it, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of leads into the next question. So, who are some trustworthy people in your life, and how do they influence the way you act and live? That's a good one.
Hmm.
'Cause that can be many different areas, right? You could have people at work, church family, friendships outside of church. There's family,
Yep.
There's lots of areas, right?
Yeah, whether
That can
you're in
kind of,
like a relationship or you're a single person, you still need to have those trustworthy people in
yeah,
your life.
yeah.
And so for me, um, you, my husband, Ian, and then also my life group that I know when I need something or something tough is going on, that I can rely on them to support me and help me through those things.
Mm.
Um, and also like just our church family that we have, the community that we have here.
Yeah, yeah. Life groups are a big one. Again, an area, a place where you can come, be relaxed, be
Mm-hmm.
yourself, know the people that you're talking to are going to listen as well as be supportive.
And
And
also
again, not
care.
and care and
Yeah.
not share things outside of the group, right? Like,
Right.
and just going into that, knowing that that's how it is,
Right.
makes it more comfortable, I guess, to be open. So yeah, life groups for
Yep.
sure are a big one. Of course, yes, a spouse
Mm-hmm.
is a big one. Knowing that I can talk to you and know that what we talk about stays with us, right? And if there's issues or things that we're dealing with, that we can work through those. Yeah, it certainly, those are for sure by far the biggest ones that I can say for me are where I would find um, influence the way I act and live, because I want to continue to act and live that way outside of that with other people in my life.
Yeah.
People that maybe aren't believers, people that, aren't quite there,
Yep.
but again, to be that, that light, that difference between the rest of the world and what God says.
And I think it's important to find people in your life that like you want to be like, the types of qualities that the people are expressing, that like um if they have character, or that they're like a relationship with Christ, and that's
Mhm.
really important for you. You want to have a strong relationship with Christ. You want to grow, and then find other people who have that and who are seeking after it, or um, people who prioritize family or community. Like you need to be finding those people in your life and having them close to you, because you become like the people that you surround yourself with and the people that you spend the most time with. So taking almost like an inventory of, okay, these people are in my life. Do I want to actually be like them? Yes, no, can help determine, I really want to be spending time with these people, or do I need to go find a new sphere of influence? And honestly, if that's the case for you, that you do need a new sphere of influence, you need new friends, reach out to us. We're here. We want to help support you through that
Yeah.
and be there with you. You can join our life groups, you can join our community, and we can do it virtually so that you can have that for yourself as well.
Yeah, yeah. That there's different groups of people as your sphere, as you were saying,
Yeah,
grows, and what influence those people have. So
right.
the people close to you are going, of course, have the most influence, the most input into you, and then it kind of gets less as the rings go further out.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, the people that are further out are the ones that maybe aren't would have the best influence or the best guidance in your life, but still want to be in touch with them, because you never know how God's going to work through you to them,
Right.
right? And so you don't want to just cut them off, but you kind of limit the input, right?
Yeah.
Um, Especially if they're not the greatest influence or maybe don't make the greatest life choices.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you want to have them at a bit further of a distance, so they don't have that input, because that's going to change the direction you head in.
Yeah.
If they have lots of input, you're going to change a direction. It's going to change the influence you have and what you do day to day. All right, I'm going to leave you guys here with a question as we kind of wrap this up here. Excellent question.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything you need to change in your friendships or relationships to honor God better? You're going to want to share and talk about this with either a life group that you're in or somebody who is a trustworthy person, that you can really, trust and rely on. Whether that's a family member, maybe it's a coworker, a close friend, somebody who you can really trust, you're going to want to reach out to them, talk to them, express to them kind of what this looks like. Maybe it's having that tough conversation with somebody that maybe you need to take a step back from,
Yep.
because that's going to honor God better by not having them be as strong of an influence in your life. But please, I encourage you, talk with your life group, whatever that might be. You and two friends can easily make a life group go and be able to go through all these questions each and every week and dive just a little deeper, because I know I find I dive deeper in with my life group as well. Of course, we want to thank you guys for joining us today. I think it was a really good discussion. I quite liked it. So I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. We want to thank the tech team behind us, making this, of course, all possible and available for you to be a part of. And with that, we want to remember, whoever finds God finds life.